Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, February 28th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering this upcoming week. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. First off, a couple of quick clarification points. First off, as I go through the video, that number will be changing and the candles will be also moving around because the market is still open for a little bit of time. But I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day action. But the market's also close enough to being done for the day where everything that I talk about will still be relevant as we move into Monday. Then the other clarification, these are 30-minute time or candlesticks. So in other words, if you're a beginner, each one of these represents 30 minutes of time. So I will be using the 30-minute time frame for each of these stocks. First one here, ticker symbol IMPP. Did this analysis. I think this is now the fourth day in a row I did it, but first day was way back here when the price was down below $1, and now the price is nicely up above $2. So in other words, the trend has continued, and you can see that this area of support did a fantastic job of holding late day on Thursday, and then today just got that much more continuation. So what I'm going to do here is actually adjust this area of support up to this level here and talk just call the newest ideal level of support at $1.75. Ideal meaning for ask, what would make this chart look the absolute best and strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay above $1.75. Now, if the price drops below that level, that doesn't mean that the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything. But if the price can stay above that area, that would just be a good sign from an overall perspective that everything remains very healthy from a trend building point of view. But ultimately, from the overarching standpoint, the level that you'll want to continue to watch is all about that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. And as the name implies, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So in other words, from the broad sense of things, as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then the overall trend is perfectly fine. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, headed into next week, main area to watch is going to be right up here. Nothing fancy or complicated other than just asking the question, well, where did the party finally stop today? And that was up there at $2.20. So keep a close eye on that. But overall, what matters most is that this thing continues to build those higher bases. And as long as that's the case next week, then the overall trend and overall chart will continue to take care of itself. Next one here, AMD, and this will mean a bit more to those that have watched past videos, but even if you didn't, I talked about that red trend line being, the next key battleground to watch, and you can see that today in technical jargon, an absolutely beautiful trend line breakout. So price broke through the trend line and just had continued to work its way upwards, so much so that it even got up to that pink line there, the 200-period moving average, and has now been able to move up above there. But overall, a very impressive move, not just because it was green, but because of the technical point of view, got that break through the trend line. So I'm going to go ahead and get these lines out of the way now as they serve their purpose and don't want to risk causing a bunch of clutter because there's lines everywhere. But the newest dynamic to watch moving forward, which is what I just talked about, is now just watch that purple line. Again, the 50-period moving average. So that line is going to continue to move higher and higher. So as far as, measuring the health of the trend line breakout that happened today, how do you know if the trend line break is still healthy? Again, just watch that purple line, and as long as the price stays above that level, then in my opinion at least, that would imply that the overall breakout is still completely healthy. Because remember, a price doesn't have to go straight up in order to be healthy, because no price is going to go straight up. But as long as it's showing progress, and again, I'm defining progress as staying above that purple line, that's what matters most. As far as levels of resistance are concerned, next key level now to watch next week going to be right up there at the $122 mark, which you can see has a bit of a track record around this area of the chart. So keep an eye on that. But the good news is the price is well within striking distance. So that doesn't mean that anything's guaranteed to happen, but it does mean that it's more than valid. It's more than plausible to think that the price could very well get up to 122 and then push up through there. So keep a close eye on that potential breakout. Next one, AMC, and in my view, the most impressive part about this one was how there was that pullback, but look right where it bounced off of. Sure, this will mean more to those of you that watched yesterday's video when I put that green line in place, but this just goes to show the power of charts and just goes to show that overall it held strong because things were looking very shaky during that 30 minutes right there. But the price came down right to that support, and not only did the bears fail to press it downwards, but they just completely failed in the sense that the bulls were able to fight back and then push the price back in the upwards direction. So point here being that going into today, right around that 1660 mark was a key level of support, and it held strong, which is great to see. So moving into next week, nothing has changed in that regard. That general area, 1660 down to 1650, still going to be a very important level of support. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, the level here that I think everybody and their brother's uncle is now watching is that trend line right into play. And I put that, or I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while nothing is guaranteed, my point is it's more than plausible to think that if the price can get up to that level and push up through it, that break right there could very well create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So definitely keep a close eye on that trend line as the main area of resistance. Next one, CYRN. Very nice mover today. Nice price range. I know a lot of people out there enjoy trading the stocks that are below $10. And like I said, a very, very nice little formation. And the backbone of the formation is the fact that it actually got pushed downwards for a while from here down here. Because at this point, it becomes very shaky and it becomes a big question and a valid question of, all right, was this just kind of a pump and dump type thing? Is there any true strength behind it? Because depending on how much experience you have, I'm sure you've seen stocks that make moves like this and then just completely roll back over. And that was, a very real potential at that point, but that's not what happened, right? It leveled off and has now started to head itself back upwards. Now, that doesn't mean, that it's put in new highs or that it will put in new highs, but it's at least stopped, pulling back and has now made a very, very nice pattern with some well-defined areas here. So in the near term, the first key level of resistance to watch going to be right there at $6.25. And then if 625 can break, then next key level to watch very closely going to be right up there around 685. But all in all, like I said, I really like this pattern. I like the fact that this pullback here, did not lead to any sort of bigger reversal or collapse, but things stabilized. Things are heading back up, and now the price is hovering really nicely below these areas of resistance. So like I said, very impressive pattern, and one that's certainly worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like to play stocks trading down below $10. Next one here, IRNT, and very nice momentum here. Good, solid little trend over the past couple of days. But what's also nice about this is it's pulled back. And the reason I would say that is nice is because, it should always be a worry. I don't know. Am I chasing? Am I going to be the sucker that buys to the top? Am I getting, suckered into FOMO, fear of missing out? And that has already happened, right? The people that chase got suckered into FOMO were buying there. They were buying right there. So the price has pulled back, so at least you know that is no longer a concern. Now, that obviously doesn't mean that it'll for sure still be a winning trade, but at least you don't have to worry about being, the sucker that buys the top. So if you do like to play stocks that are demonstrating momentum, and there's no doubt about it, this one is demonstrating momentum. I state the obvious when I say that, but have shown a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a breath, letting things cool off for a little bit. Well, then you have that right here with this very nice pullback. So I'll just draw this kind of in a very bootleg form, but if I were to draw the pattern right there, that would be a bull flag pattern. So bull flag pattern, again, another one of these down below the $10 mark. So if you like to play these sort of situations where the momentum is strong, however, there's a bit of a little cool off, then I would definitely keep an eye on this one. Next one, RMED, and same exact premise. Nice move up, pulled back, but leveled off and is now starting to show some strength again. So kind of a poor man's little cup and handle pattern here maybe forming, have the pullback, and then potentially get up there through that point right there at 50 cents. So on that note, 50 cents is certainly going to be that key breakout point to watch moving forward, which if the price breaks through there, then I don't think it would catch anybody off guard to see the price push up to 54 cents, if not even higher than that. But you'll certainly want to keep an eye on the volume, right? If it's just some sort of small volume break, then yeah, I'd be a little sketchy. But if it is a higher volume break, then, like I said, it becomes that much more plausible to think that the price could, gather some more momentum, even if it's more so just from a self-fulfilling prophecy type of angle of things, and then push up to 54 cents and above. So keep an eye on that as a breakout point. If you're somebody that likes to play more so pullbacks, then an interesting level of support would be down there right around the 41 cent mark. So keep an eye on that. But like I said, in my mind, the more interesting dynamic is this little cup and handle that's forming. So it's just a question right now of, and let me just change up the colors, can the price get up to that level? And then, of course, can the price break up through it? That'll be the main question that I think a lot of people and traders will be wondering about next week. Next one, NIO. And in my mind, this is all revolving around one question. And once more, this is not a great discovery on my part. I'm not trying to imply like this is some sort of great talent that I have. I assure you a lot of people have noticed this. So it circles back to the whole self-fulfilling prophecy angle of things. But I assure you all sorts of people are watching that purple line there. It's the very well-known, it's the very famous 50 period moving average. And right here we have an example of why it's famous. Served as an area of resistance, but what makes this interesting is check out how the price is just hovering right below that area. So the question becomes, are we going to get a breakout of that next week? And if it does happen, could that be the start of a much bigger breakout in the upwards direction. Of course, there's no way to know that for sure, but the idea here is it's at least a valid question. And that's the whole idea behind a watch list, right? Is you're identifying, unique situations so that you can watch them and then potentially take a trade on them. And that's what makes this very interesting, is it's done a good job of recovering after that crazy 30 minutes right there, where the price essentially got rejected, collapsed, but leveled off and is now slowly creeping back upwards. So now it's just all about, can the price push up through that 50-period moving average, which is essentially valid at, we'll call it the $21 mark. So at $21, definitely a very important level of resistance. But if the price does pull back, then down there around the $20 mark is going to be a key level of support. But definitely, in my opinion, the main dynamic and most interesting dynamic is whether or not the price can actually push up through that 50-period moving average and accomplish the breakout. Next one, PLTR, and overall, a good solid day, as a lot of the stocks had that very brutal opening 30 minutes there where the price really came down and at one point had broken down below that green line, which wasn't necessarily the end of the world, but you just didn't want to see the price drop back inside of the sideways channel. But to give credit where credit's due, price got back above it and then kind of just hovered along, and then this afternoon is now starting to bounce back upwards, which, as you can see here, as this candle forms, last 30 minutes here, nice little green candle here is forming, so we'll see if that continues. But point here being, not like it was explosive day in the upwards direction, so it wasn't bullish in that regard, but I would say that it was bullish in the sense of at least it was able to stay up above that channel that it had broken out of on Thursday. So continue to watch right around that $11.25 mark as a key area of support. But again, that is by no means some sort of do or die level. So if the price were to drop below it, doesn't mean the chart's ruined. You still do have the purple line down there, the 50 period at $10.90 or $10.90. Then you have, the must hold level would be down here at 10.30, but that's not even really relevant at all. But overall, those are going to be the main areas of support. And then as far as resistance are concerned, have a little miniature one right here at 11.50, and then more so an overarching level up there at 11.90. But let's first just see if the price can even break up through 11.50. So overall, not necessarily a super exciting day, but I would still say a good healthy day for this one. Next one, CLOV. Really like this pattern. We've already had a couple that look like this, but let's just establish the overall context. Overall context is past couple days, very clearly some very nice upwards momentum, but within the context of the momentum, you don't have to worry about being the sucker that buys the top. Those people already bought right there. They're now having to sit there and wonder, oh, great, did I just buy the official top? Did I get suckered into, the fear of missing out FOMO? But at this point, the price is pulled back. But as I've said with past ones, the key here is that it pulled back and then leveled out, which is important because, okay, it's built a higher low. And now it's starting to show some signs of strength to the upside, which brings about, the reason to keep an eye on it, to keep it on the watch list is, okay, maybe this recovery, maybe this turnaround is going to send it back in the upwards direction, which in my mind, in the very near term, that key breakout point going to be right there at $2.55, followed by the highs up here around $2.65. But let's just first see if it can break above $2.55. But overall, you got to like the pattern, got to like the fact that there's strong momentum, but the momentum is cooling off a little bit, but now seemingly starting to maybe heat back up. So let's see if this can continue on into next week. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and overall, pretty crazy day on this one, although a very, very modest afternoon. And you can see here that after, like I said, a wild opening 30 minutes and really wild opening part of the day, you had these big candles. I mean, these candles just got really small and the volatility really just shrunk. Volume kind of dropped out of it. So what we have here is just a very tight, defined pattern here, which once again, I'm not trying to imply my ability to draw these lines is some special talent. A lot of people have done this. So we have that self-fulfilling attribute of things. But I assure you, a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there, which is proven. Actually, if I bring it up here, it becomes even that much more impressive of a trend line. So by using these two levels right here, which is amazing, the power of charts, by using those two areas, did a fantastic job of forecasting that area of resistance and that area. So once more, while nothing is guaranteed, it is more than plausible to think that if Tesla can get up to that trend line and push up through it, that would be considered a trend line breakout, and breakout players are going to be saying, well, hey, I'm a breakout player. I'm supposed to buy when it's breaking out. Oh, look, it's breaking out. So you could very well, see people buying with that trend line break because, like I said, it has now become a very well-defined area. As far as supports are concerned and areas that probably shorts are going to be watching, first level right here going to be at the 795 mark, and then that followed down there at, what is that? The 783 mark. So those are a couple of very interesting levels of support. But I think most people are going to be most watching and curious about that trend line right there. So we'll see if Tesla can get up to that and then potentially break through it. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to start to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So get signed up with the link down below. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, then please help me out with some basic communication by hitting that like button and leaving a comment below. Doing those two things communicate to me that you enjoy these. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to put these watch lists together. So hopefully this helped you out and gets you a starting point for next week. But again, if you want to learn more about technical analysis and how it is such a great tool and valuable tool to build consistency as a trader and why it works, then like I said, get signed up for that free class next week. Everybody take care. Have a good weekend.